Have you ever heard of the infamous Hitman known only as Zero? His ruthless efficiency in eliminating targets had earned him a reputation that struck fear into the hearts of his victims. But behind the chilling facade of this notorious killer, there existed a man grappling with the haunting memories of his past. What if I were to tell you that even a hitman can find redemption? Welcome to our channel, where we bring you the craziest and weirdest crimes. They saw that he was a changed man and wasn't the same person who had committed those horrible crimes. Thomas was a priest who had been working in the prison for many years. He had seen many inmates come and go, but he had never seen anyone like Zero. He could tell that Zero was a good man who had simply made some bad decisions in his life. Father Thomas began visiting Zero every day. He would talk to him about his past and try to help him understand why he had done the things he had done. He traveled around the country, speaking to schools and churches about his experience. Zero's story is an example to us all. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in the past. We have plenty more where that came from. If you're willing to change, anything is possible. He shared his story with thousands of people, hoping to inspire them to make good choices in life. He also worked with various charities, helping people who were struggling with addiction and abuse. Zero became a role model for people all over the country. He is known as the Ghost, and he seems to be untouchable. He is always in demand, and he always gets the job done. The Shadow is a ghost. He seems to appear out of nowhere and strike his victims down without warning. He is always one step ahead of the police, and they can never catch him. The Shadow is a true professional, and he takes pride in his work. He is the ultimate hitman, and he is always in a high demand. The Ghost only accepts jobs from the most powerful people in Russia, and he always gets the job done. The Russian police are stumped, and they don't know who the Ghost is or where he is hiding. Many people have tried to take the Ghost down, but he always seems to be one step ahead of them. The Ghost is a legend in the Russian underworld, and his name strikes fear into the hearts of his enemies. He showed them that even if you make mistakes, you can always change. No matter how dark your past is, there is always hope for a brighter future. Zero was very receptive to Father Thomas's help. He began opening up to the priest and telling him things he had never told anyone else. He told Father Thomas about the abuse he had suffered as a child, about the drugs he had been addicted to, and about the people he had killed. The prison guards also began to see this and started treating him better. They gave him more privileges and allowed him to work in the prison library. He was known as the Enforcer, and he was feared throughout Asia. The Enforcer was a master of disguise, and he always made sure that there was no evidence left behind that could lead back to him. The Triads loved him because he was always successful. However, one day the Triad bosses decided that they wanted the Enforcer dead. They had hired him to kill a rival Triad boss, but the Enforcer had taken the money and then refused to do the job. The Triads were furious, and they put a huge bounty on the Enforcer's head. The Enforcer knew that he was in danger, so he went into hiding. He changed his appearance and tried to start a new life, but the Triads found him and killed him. Some of these cases will keep you up at night, while others will make you question the very nature of justice. He was released from prison on the condition that he would continue to work with Father Thomas and continue to help other people. Zero was overjoyed. He knew that he still had a lot to work on, but he was grateful for the second chance he had been given. He promised to make the most of his freedom and to use it to help others. But they're all stories that need to be told and are definitely worth your time. He started to feel remorse for the things he had done and began to develop a strong desire to help others. He also began volunteering in the prison library, helping other inmates with their reading and writing. He became a mentor to the other inmates, sharing his story and helping them to see the light. The other inmates respected him for this, and soon he was no longer the outcast he had been when he first arrived at the prison. He wanted to use his experience to help other inmates avoid the same mistakes he had made. He wanted to show them that there was more to life than violence and hatred. Today, we will delve into the chilling tale of the hitman named Zero and explore how he turned his life around after being imprisoned for his crime. So, sit back, grab a snack, and prepare yourself for an evening of captivating storytelling as we take you through the twisted world of this legendary hitman. Zero was one of the most feared hitmen of all time. He was so good at what he did that even the police were afraid of him. The other inmates knew who he was and what he had done. They wanted revenge, but Zero didn't care. He knew that he deserved to be in prison. He had committed terrible crimes and had taken innocent lives. He had no one to blame but himself. Zero spent the first few years in prison in solitary confinement. This was because the other inmates wanted him dead. The prison guards also didn't like him and were constantly watching him. But Zero didn't mind. He knew that he was in prison for a reason and was willing to suffer. He knew that he had done some bad things in his life and was willing to pay the price. People would hire him to kill other people, and he never failed. He was also very careful when doing his job. He always made sure that there was no evidence left behind that could lead back to him. However, one day he made a mistake and was caught. He was then sentenced to 20 years in prison. When he first went to prison, Zero was hated by everyone. However, after a few years, things started to change. The other inmates began to respect Zero. One day, Zero was approached by a man named Thomas. As the days turned into weeks and months, Zero began to change. With Father Thomas's help, Zero began attending Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous meetings. After serving 10 years of his 20-year sentence, Zero was granted parole. In the years that followed, Zero became a changed man. He may have once been one of the most feared hitmen in the world, but now he was known as a hero who helped save countless lives. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear more crazy crime stories, stay tuned. Case No. 2, The Enforcer. There was a hitman who only accepted jobs from the Chinese triads. Case No. 3, The Ghost. A mysterious hitman has been terrorizing the Russian underworld. Case No. 4, The Shadow. The Shadow is a hitman for hire, and he is one of the most feared men in the world. If you like these types of stories, please subscribe. We have many more just like this one. Thank you for watching.